Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to another lesson. In this lesson, we are going to learn about IELTS Writing Task 1. Our Task 1 is going to be based on a diagram process. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to write the introduction and the overview. In the next lesson, I'm going to teach you how to write the rest of the essay, that is body paragraph 2 and body paragraph 3. But before we begin, I would like to point out a few details about IELTS Writing Task 1. The first thing that is important to remember is that you get 20 minutes to write your Task 1. That is 20 minutes. You should write more than 150 words. Your Task 1 is worth about 33% of your total writing marks. You will be marked on task achievement, coherence and cohesion, vocabulary, and grammar. When it comes to writing Task 1, the academic students write a report that could be based on a bar chart, a line graph, a pie chart, a table, a map, or a diagram, as we are going to do in this lesson. For the general training students, your writing Task 1 is a letter. Now, let's get into our lesson, but before we do that, have you subscribed to this channel? If you haven't, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to this channel and I promise you, you will not regret it. This is because on this channel, I upload really helpful videos on not only IELTS, writing and speaking, that is part 1, part 2 and part 3, but you will also find a lot of videos in my channel about vocabulary. Maybe you want to know adjectives to describe people, to describe different things. You will find videos about that. You will also find videos about grammar in my channel. Maybe you're not very confident when it comes to the different tenses in English, or maybe phrasal verbs. I have grammar videos on all sorts of different topics. Have a look at my playlist. But maybe you just want to be confident when you're speaking English in different situations. Let's say, for example, when you go shopping, or when you go to the doctor, or when you go to the mall. You just want to know what to say, when to say it. I have plenty of videos on how to speak English in different situations. Actually, have a look at my playlists after you have watched this video, and I guarantee you that you will find so many helpful videos that are going to improve your level of English, that are going to make you a confident user of the English language. So subscribe to this channel and remember to turn your notification button on, because I'm going to be uploading the second part of this video, and that is how to write body paragraph 2 and body paragraph 3. Now, let's get into our lesson. Once you have received your question on IELTS Writing Task 1, the first step is to ensure that you understand the diagram and the information that comes with it. In our case, the diagram on the left shows how coal is used to generate electricity. Ensure that you understand that part. It is extremely important. The diagram, it shows how coal is used to generate or to produce electricity. Once you have read that information, step number 2, have a look at the diagram. As you look at the diagram, ask yourself this question: where does the process begin and where does it end? Step number 3, once you have identified where the step starts and where it ends, I recommend that you write numbers for each particular step up to the last one. So in our case, we have call, and the call is going to go through the pulverizer. So I would write call as step number 1. And then step number 2, it's going through the pulverizer. Okay? And then step number 3, the call is going to get crushed through the pulverizer and it's going to end up in a furnace. Now you can see the fire in the furnace at the bottom of it, and at the top of it you can see steam. So that would be step number 3. Step number 1 for call, step number 2 for the pulverizer, step number 3 for furnace, and step number 4 would be for the steam that is coming out of the furnace. And then you can see we have the turbine and the generator. Now, the turbine and the generator I would put as number 4. And then we have the transformer, I would put as number 6. Okay, and then we have the power lines, that is number 7. And then finally we have the cooling process happening, okay, once more. So I would put that as the last step, although it comes at the beginning as well. So in other words, the most important thing is read the information that IELTS has provided you with. After that, look at the diagram, identify where the process starts and where the process ends, and then write little numbers for each step of the process. Now, once you have done that, the rest is a piece of cake. The rest is very easy because you can now move on and write the introduction. Now, what should you put in the introduction? In the introduction, you should simply paraphrase IELTS statement. IELTS statement is the diagram on the left shows how coal is used to generate electricity. In our introduction, we are going to rewrite that information. We are going to rewrite it in our own words, but we are going to make sure that we do not change the meaning. Okay? You rewrite IELTS information, you rewrite that in your own words. That means you paraphrase, but you ensure that the meaning stays the same. Now let's do it together. The first part is the diagram. Now that does not change, okay? A diagram is a diagram. So we do not change that part of the information. We simply rewrite the diagram. The next word is shows. The diagram on the left shows. We are going to replace the word shows with a band 9 word, and that is exhibits. Okay? The diagram exhibits. The diagram shows. Exhibits is an advanced word for shows. Remember, we are aiming for a band 9. So we have to ensure that straight away we begin using band 9 vocabulary. The diagram exhibits, the diagram shows. How coal, we are not going to change that, we're just going to write how coal is utilized. Now, we are going to replace the word used with utilized. Is used and is utilized in this case mean exactly the same. Okay? Now, the next word is generate. Generate, we are going to replace that word with produce. In this context, generate and produce mean exactly the same. And then the last word is electricity. we are not going to replace that word, because if we do, we are going to change the meaning of the statement. So we are going to retain that word, we are going to keep it, and that is electricity. So what we have done is we have simply paraphrased IELTS statement by writing it in our own words. We have looked for word synonyms for the words that we could replace, but we have ensured that we retain some words that, if we changed, would affect the meaning of the sentence. So instead of the diagram on the left shows how coal is used to generate electricity, we have the diagram exhibits how coal is utilized to produce electricity. Those two sentences mean exactly the same. So that's how you write the introduction. You simply paraphrase IELTS statement. Now you notice IELTS statement is just one sentence. So in our introduction, we only have one sentence. Remember, you have only 20 minutes to write this task. So you want to make it as easy for yourself as possible, but still you want to ensure that you have all the requirements for you to score a high band in your introduction. So once you have written your introduction, before I move on to the overview, remember, do not copy IELTS statement in your introduction. Do not simply copy it and pretend that it's your own. IELTS will not accept it because it's not your statement. Instead, they want you to rewrite it in your own words and only keep the words that, if you changed, would affect the meaning. Because when you rewrite the introduction, when you rewrite IELTS statement, the meaning should be exactly the same. So now let's move on to the second part of our lesson, and let's see what you're supposed to put in the overview. Remember, your writing task 1 should be only 4 paragraphs: the introduction, the overview, and 2 body paragraphs. Like I said earlier on, you've only got 20 minutes and you're expected to write 150 words. So stick to 4 paragraphs, write your introduction, and then write the overview. Now, what are you supposed to put in the overview? In the overview, the examiner is looking for the key features in the process. So in the overview, the examiner is looking for the key features. What are the key features? The key features are the key steps in the process. In the overview, you are supposed to identify the key features in the diagram. What are the key features? The key features are the main steps. They are the main steps in the diagram. You're supposed to describe the steps. Now, as I said earlier on, once you have looked at the diagram, you need to identify where does the process start and where does it end. Once you do that, then you number all the steps of the process. And then in the overview, you simply transfer the steps that you have identified to the overview. Those will be the key features. They are the key stages in the process of generating electricity using coal. What are the key stages? What are the key steps in the process of using coal to generate electricity? That is what the overview is all about. Now, you begin writing the overview by using the words in general, or you can use the words overall, or you can use the words generally. Okay, so you have 3 words that you could use there. You could begin your overview using the word generally, or in general, or overall. Don't forget your comma after that. In my case, I've decided to use in general, comma. Electricity is generated by burning coal, so I'm going step by step from the beginning of the process until the end. electricity is generated, it is produced by burning coal. That is the first step. Burning coal to produce steam. So you burn coal, it goes through the pulverizer, and from that and then it ends up in the furnace and you get steam. Electricity is generated by burning coal to produce steam, which flows into a turbine. The steam flows into a turbine, causing the generator to spin and create electricity. Okay? So the electricity is generated by burning coal to produce steam, which flows into a turbine, causing the generator to spin and create electricity. So far, you have identified a few steps there. You have described a few steps. And that is the key steps. Remember, this is the overview. So you're not expected to be so detailed, but at the same time, you're supposed to provide a summary of all the key steps. And as we have seen, the first step is the burning of the coal. Once the coal is burned, steam is produced. And this steam, it flows into a turbine, causing the generator to spin. To spin is to go round, to spin and create electricity. Next, the steam is cooled and condensed back into water, after which it is returned to the furnace to restart the process again. Next, the steam is cooled, because as you can see below the turbine, we have the cooler. Okay? So the steam that was initially produced, which flowed into the turbine, causing the generator to spin and create electricity, it is cooled. If you look at below the turbine, we have the cooler, and you can see the water in blue has been cooled down and it goes back into the furnace to restart the process again. Okay? So the steam is cooled and condensed back into water, after which it is returned to the furnace, and the furnace is heating up, okay, because of the coal that is burnt to produce steam. So it is returned to the furnace to restart the process again. So the whole process of generating electricity is repeated all over again, because the coal that has gone, the steam that has gone back into the furnace after the water is condensed back into, after the water is, the steam is cooled and condensed back into water, it is returned to the furnace and it gets heated up once again, okay? And once again, steam is produced, and the steam that is produced flows back into the turbine, causing the generator to spin and create electricity. And then again, it's cooled and condensed back into water, okay, by the cooler that is below the turbine. And then it is returned back to the furnace, where it is heated again, and again steam is produced, okay, and the process keeps repeating itself. So that is how coal is used to generate electricity. Now, in the overview, what I have done is I have summarized the key steps. Those are the key features, The key steps are the key features, and I have ensured that I have used vocabulary that is suitable for describing this particular process. I have put the vocabulary for you in black. I have put the vocabulary for you in black. You have, for example, the first, how you start the overview. You start with in general, and then you have the word generated. Electricity is generated. That's a verb. By coal, okay, burning coal to produce steam, which flows into, okay, flows into. And then the next word is causing the generator to spin, to turn round and create electricity. And then you're describing the next part, next, so you use the connector, next, comma, the steam is cooled and condensed back into water. After which, another connector, it is returned to the furnace, returned to restart. To restart is to begin, to restart the process again. So these words that I have put in bold for you, that I have put in black, are extremely important for you to be able to describe this process correctly, okay? So take note of that. And in the introduction, we have the vocabulary exhibits, which I said it means to show. And we have the word utilized, how coal is utilized, how coal is used. Utilized simply means used. And to produce it means to generate. So, in summary, how do you approach this kind of question? Once you have received the question, simply read IELTS information. Once you have read IELTS information, look at the diagram. Ask yourself, where does the process start and where does the process end? The next step, put numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on for each step. In our case, we put the first step, coal, we put number 1 there. The next step you can put in furnace, number 2. Step number 3, you can put it in turbine. Step number 4, generator. Okay? Step number 5, transformer. Step number 6, power lines, where you have the electricity. And then the last step you can put is the cooler. That is number 7, because the steam is cooled yet again and condensed back into water, after which it is returned to the furnace to restart the process all over again. And then once you have done that, the next thing is begin writing your introduction. In your introduction, all you have to do is paraphrase IELTS statement in your own words. Remember to change the words, that if you change them, it will not affect the meaning. You are allowed to retain some words that if you changed would affect the meaning. For example, the word diagram, we kept it. How coal is, we kept that. And electricity, we kept that. And then once you have done that, write your overview. In your overview, all you have to do is write a summary of the steps of the process, okay? A summary. Do not go into details, because that's what you're going to do in body paragraph 2 and body paragraph 3. But still, remember, when the examiner looks at your overview, they should know exactly what the process, what are the key steps, what are the key stages in the process of using coal to generate electricity. All the steps should be there, but you're not expected to go into details. And then the last thing that is important to remember is use vocabulary that is suitable for the topic that you're talking about. And this time we're talking about the generation of electricity. So we have to use vocabulary that is relevant to that particular topic. And I have simplified it for you. I have underlined, I have put all the vocabulary for you in bold, okay? So that's how you write the introduction and the overview of this particular question. In the next lesson, I'm going to teach you how to write the main body, and that is body paragraph 2 and body paragraph 3 of this particular question. So do not forget to subscribe to the channel and turn your notification button on so that you know exactly when, as soon as I upload the next video. Now, thank you very much for your time. Once you have watched this video, do not forget to give the video a thumbs up and share the video on all your social media platforms. Remember, sharing is caring. I shared this video with you, so please share it with other people. Do not keep this channel a secret anymore, okay? Don't keep it a secret anymore. Let other people also benefit from the channel. Now, thank you very much and see you in our next lesson. Bye bye.